Schools are such an important place for prevention education because they are one of the only places where we have access to all children, regardless of their home life or background, year after year. That kind of access is powerful because prevention works best when children are surrounded by safe, informed adults. Through Kids Have Rights, students learn age-appropriate body safety skills, how to recognize unsafe or uncertain situations, assert boundaries, and ask a safe adult for help. But safety is never a responsibility we place on children alone. Teachers help carry the message forward every day by using consistent language, building trust, reinforcing respectful boundaries, and creating a classroom culture where children feel seen, heard, and safe enough to speak up. When schools and safe adults work together, prevention becomes more than a lesson. It becomes the environment around a child. The Kids Have Rights program is our school-based prevention program that was created by the Children's Advocacy Center. This program was created when forensic interviewers started to notice patterns as they were looking through reports, and they really started to wonder if anyone was talking to kids about the things that were happening. Through a lot of research, they found that child sexual abuse was a silent epidemic, and there really wasn't any program that was currently addressing those things. Kids Have Rights was really born out of that need. Through Kids Have Rights, students learn body safety in a way that is age-appropriate, practical, and easy to understand. Lessons help children recognize unsafe situations, understand that their body belongs to them, assert boundaries, trust what their bodies are telling them, and identify safe adults they can go to for help. But the program is not just about what students learn in one lesson. It is also about partnering with teachers and school staff, so the language, support, and safety messages continue long after the Kids Have Rights educator leaves the classroom. Teachers play a key role in making these messages stick through using consistent language every single day, through respect and trust and open communication, but also by doing the follow-up mini lessons that we provide to the classroom teachers. What we want you to know when we come to your classroom is that we are there as partners. We are there to support you and to help you. We're there to equip you with knowledge and information so that you feel comfortable if a child comes to you with any concerns. And we really want you to know when we come into your classroom who we are, some of the information that we'll be covering, and we just really want every single person in that room to feel comfortable. The CEO of the National Children's Alliance has reported that child sexual abuse rates have decreased over the past 20 years. This shows that prevention is working and those efforts need to be accelerated. When we're consistently teaching children about how to keep themselves safe, we're not only reacting, we're getting ahead of the harm. Research tells us that 95% of child sexual abuse is preventable through education and awareness. Teachers are in a unique position to recognize, prevent, and report child sexual abuse. These reports often serve as a door to services at the center, and this is where the healing and the justice can really begin.
There is no normal reaction to trauma, but some of the common reactions that we see often in kids is either those hyperarousal, so those big, huge feelings that they're having. Sometimes that's escalation or anger or anxiety. That's how they can show up. Or it sometimes looks as a kid who maybe wasn't reserved at first is now really keeping to themselves, or just changes in behavior is something really important to look for. There's lots of reasons why kids don't disclose abuse right away. They might not know what happened to them was wrong. When you think about the messages that offenders use to keep kids in secret, they might have used threats or harm to the people that they love or even to themselves to talk about how to keep it a secret. It's really difficult to talk about these kinds of things. They might not have the language to be able to describe what actually did happen to them, and they might not have the ability to developmentally. Sometimes the kids just don't have those language skills that they need to be able to talk about it. It can be really common for children to show no obvious signs of abuse. When you think about the secrecy that abuse occurs in, it's encouraged for kids to keep it to themselves and keep it a secret. Possible indicators of abuse can show up in different ways. A teacher might notice sudden changes in behavior, withdrawal or isolation, aggression, acting out, regressive behaviors, or increased anxiety and fearfulness. They may also see changes at school, like a drop in academic performance, reluctance to go home, or avoidance of certain people, places, or situations. These indicators do not prove that abuse has occurred, and some children may show no obvious signs at all. But when something feels concerning, it may be a signal that a child needs support. As mandated reporters, school staff should not investigate. If abuse is suspected, a report must be made to Child Protective Services. It can have lifelong impacts. When a teacher is kind and encouraging and supportive, the child learns that what they're talking about is okay to share. Abuse happens in secrecy and in darkness. And so when we get to respond with light and love, think about how healing that can be.
If a student shares something concerning with a teacher, it's really important for that teacher to stay calm and also to really listen and to thank that child for sharing that information with them. It's also really important not to ask any leading questions and overall just to create a very safe and comfortable space for that child to share. A supportive response might sound like, "Thank you for telling me. I believe you," or "You did the right thing by sharing this." Avoid questions or comments that could make the child feel doubted, blamed, or responsible, such as, "Are you sure?" or "Why didn't you tell someone earlier?" And never promise to keep it a secret. A teacher's role is not to investigate or determine exactly what happened. Their role is to listen, support the child, and make a report when appropriate.
So if you have even a suspicion that child abuse or neglect is happening, it's so important that you involve the correct individuals in the investigation and that you report to Child Protective Services or law enforcement. This takes the pressure off of trying to figure out what happened or trying to figure out if something did happen, and it puts it in the responsibility of the people who know how to. School staff are mandated reporters. That means teachers are legally required to report suspected child abuse or neglect.
Teachers don't need proof of any sexual abuse or physical abuse to complete the report.
You do not need to investigate. Suspicion or disclosure is enough.
It's understandable that you'd feel nervous about making a report, but to be completely honest, at the end of the day, we'd rather be safe than sorry. If you were feeling nervous about reporting something that you might not think is sexual abuse, again, that's what we're here for, to dive into. The ones that kind of gather that information to make sure something is not happening or something is.
A common myth is, "I need to be certain abuse occurred." The fact is, reasonable suspicion is enough. Another common myth is reporting will automatically remove the child from the home. The fact is, the goal is to ensure safety and support families whenever possible. When making a report, provide the information you have. That may include what the child shared, what you observed, who may be involved, and why you are concerned. The person who receives the disclosure should make the report whenever possible. Reports can be made anonymously, and reporting helps protect both the child and the reporter. For step-by-step reporting information, staff should visit the Children's Advocacy Center of Kent County Reporting Resource page.
Teachers are really at the heart of safe environments. They're building trust with students each and every day. And it's that trust that makes children feel comfortable talking when something doesn't feel right. Classroom culture really shapes whether or not a child feels safe. When a classroom is built on trust, respect, and open communication, a child feels more comfortable sharing if they have a concern or a problem. This doesn't just happen overnight, and it's not something that just happens. This Trust and communication is something that is intentionally created by teachers.
Teachers are some of our frontline workers when it comes to helping children talk about sexual abuse. You're there for these kids Monday through Friday, 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and they have such special relationships with you. You might be their first safe person that they've had the opportunity to talk to. And so being there and being a safe adult for those kids is so important. And it's so important to know how to help and how to respond, because you might be the first person that they've shared that with.
And there's been numerous reports that a light bulb goes off in a kiddo's head, like, whoa, hold on. Like, that is something that wasn't wrong, or that was inappropriate. I know my safe adult to go talk to.
Prevention in the classroom happens through everyday practices that help create a culture of safety. Maintain visibility whenever possible, avoid isolated spaces, and keep classroom spaces observable. Respect boundaries. Model appropriate physical boundaries, and reinforce student consent and personal space. Create a culture of safety by encouraging respectful interactions and making it clear that students can talk to trusted adults. Support help seeking. Reinforce the idea that adults are there to help, and normalize asking for help when something feels wrong, confusing, or unsafe. Prevention does not happen only through curriculum. It happens through the everyday classroom culture teachers help create. Every day, teachers help create places where children can learn, grow, and feel safe. Your awareness matters. Your response matters. And your willingness to act can help connect a child to safety, support, and healing. Thank you for the important role you play in protecting children in our community.